Have you ever wondered one thing? Why do we always live life so tired? We stress about work, we stress about housing, we stress about social relationships, we stress about our kids. Every day, the moment we open our eyes, there are endless annoying problems waiting for us, like they will never be solved. But there is a group of people who only needed a few days to put down all anxieties of life. This group are the astronauts who have been to space. And what changed them was simply this. Looking back at Earth from space once, almost every astronaut will get this condition, the overview effect. December 24th, 1968, Christmas Eve, 3 Americans were sitting inside a very small spacecraft, 380,000 kilometers away from home. They were the astronauts of Apollo 8, the first humans in history to fly around the moon. When the spacecraft flew past the far side of the moon and suddenly turned back toward the light, a blue planet slowly rose. From the pitch-black horizon, Commander Frank Borman froze for several seconds. He later said his brain went completely blank. Only one thought appeared: we are way too far away from home. When these 3 men returned to Earth, their personalities completely changed. Borman, who rarely spoke before, started giving speeches everywhere, telling everyone to protect Earth. Another astronaut, Bill Anders, directly retired from the Air Force and went to work in environmental protection. The third, J.M. Lovell, wrote in his memoir, "From that day on, Earth to me was no longer a place, it was a living being." You might think this is just an extreme example. After all, it's only 3 people. But in the following decades, almost every astronaut who returned from space experienced similar transformations. Some became environmental activists. Some resigned and became teachers. Some studied philosophy. Some directly converted to religion. It is as if going to space once allowed their souls to be touched by something, and they never came back the same. Scientists were also very curious. Why, in the 1980s, a writer named Frank White interviewed dozens of astronauts, trying to figure out what exactly they saw and what exactly they experienced up there. The result was shocking. Their descriptions were astonishingly similar. They all described one same feeling, a sudden, profound cognitive shift beyond words. Frank White gave this a name, the overview effect. So what exactly did astronauts see in space? Let me try to describe it to you. Imagine right now, you are standing at the window of the ISS. Looking down at Earth, the first thing you notice is the thin pale blue halo around Earth. That is the atmosphere, and you will be terrified by how thin it actually is, like a fragile eggshell. Earth's diameter is over 120,000 km. But the atmosphere is just a little over 100 km thick. If Earth were an apple, the atmosphere is just the apple skin. And all life on Earth, 7+ billion humans, all animals, all plants, live within this tiny layer. Then you will notice the second thing. There are no national borders, no matter how hard you look. You cannot tell where Europe is, where America is, where Russia is. All those lines you see on maps do not exist in reality. You only see green forests, yellow deserts, blue oceans, and occasionally city lights. But you cannot tell if it is New York or Tokyo. The ISS orbits Earth every 90 minutes, meaning within 24 hours, you see 16 sunrises and sunsets. Sahara Desert, Amazon rainforest, Himalaya, Pacific Ocean, all those geography textbook names rush under your feet like film fast-forwarding, and then you suddenly realize Earth is this small, this tiny, this one piece. All humans squeezed onto this small world. What's even more shocking is everything outside Earth is absolute darkness, not the night you see on Earth, but a deep, terrifying, infinite black, no light, no sound, no up, no down. Earth is like a tiny island, floating alone in endless cosmic darkness, astronauts said. Seeing this, you suddenly understand one thing. Earth is truly alone. In this vast universe, we only have one home. Chinese astronaut Liu Yang once said something very real. When you look at Earth from space, you feel it is extremely fragile, like a newborn baby, and you instinctively want to protect it, and you get angry. Why do humans hurt each other? Why destroy the environment? Don't they understand? This is our only home. This is the core of the overview effect, a change of perspective. On Earth, all problems are right in front of us, huge, immediate, personal. But when you suddenly pull yourself hundreds of kilometers above from a godlike view, all those huge problems become tiny. A Soviet astronaut, Alexander Serebrov, spent over 100 days in space. When he came back, someone asked, "What was the biggest realization in space?" He said, "I saw wars several times, Middle East, Africa. From space, they were just tiny flashes on the surface. I thought, why are those people fighting? From here, you cannot even tell who is who. Aren't we all Earthlings?" It sounds idealistic, even naive. But this man lived through the collapse of the Soviet Union. He knew suffering, politics, reality. He wasn't ignorant. He literally saw it from above. From space, human conflict looks absurd. But the overview effect isn't all beautiful. Many astronauts, after returning to Earth, struggle with adaptation. Canadian astronaut Roberta Bundar fell into depression for months. She said, "In space I saw Earth at its purest, so beautiful, so complete. Back on Earth I saw the news, war, pollution, poverty. It hurt so much. You know it shouldn't be like this. Yet you can't fix it." Japanese astronaut Soichi Noguchi said his biggest struggle was this. Humans live with such narrow minds. From space you see all our problems are self-made and solvable, but back on Earth, people argue endlessly over trivial, meaningless things. This sense of disconnection makes many astronauts feel even more lonely than being in space, like someone suddenly awakened, saw the nature of life, returned to the world, only to find everyone still trapped in the same small circle. And so, almost every astronaut who experienced the overview effect spent the rest of their life trying to tell more people what they saw. Chinese astronaut Yang Liwei wrote in his autobiography, "The first time he looked out at Earth from the hatch, he cried, not because he was excited, but because he felt heartache. He said, 'Earth is our only home.' This sentence used to be a slogan, but at that moment, I truly understood it. Now you may ask, most of us will never go to space in our lifetime. Then what is the meaning of the overview effect for us? Actually, a lot. In 2016, research teams in the U.S. did an experiment. They let ordinary volunteers, who had never been to space, wear VR headsets, and watch real Earth videos shot from the ISS. These were real space videos, not CGI. After only 10+ minutes, over half of them showed similar cognitive shifts as astronauts. They cared more about environmental issues. They had greater empathy toward other nations. Their personal anxieties felt smaller. What does this prove? The core of the overview effect is not physical space travel. It is psychological perspective shift. As long as you truly understand, even through a screen, even just by fully watching this exact piece of content, it can trigger similar change. I personally once had this too. I once saw that photograph by Voyager 1, taken in 1990, the pale blue dot. Earth was just a tiny pixel lost in a sunbeam. Carl Sagan wrote, "Look at that dot. That is home. Everyone you love, everyone you know, every human being in history lived on that tiny mote of dust." I saw that image while I was anxious over some silly tiny thing, and in that moment, I suddenly felt it was not important at all. On the scale of the universe, even on the scale of the solar system, my little problem meant nothing. This is the essence of the overview effect. It helps you jump out and see with a wider frame. Think of our usual worries: bad job situation, office politics, not enough money, kids misbehaving, house too small, car too old. These problems are real, and they do affect our lives. But if you occasionally step out and take a bigger scale view, you will discover, in the flow of life, in the scale of the universe, these problems are not really problems. More importantly, the overview effect reminds us humanity is one. We live on the same planet, breathing the same air, drinking water evaporated from the same ocean. Whether Chinese, American, rich, poor, white, black. From the universe's perspective, we are all Earthlings, but you might say, I understand the logic. But we still have to deal with real life. I can't think about the universe every day. I still have to worry. I still have to stress. And that's true. The overview effect is not for escaping reality. It's not for turning you into an unrealistic idealist. It is a tool, a perspective. When you feel stuck, you can jump out for a moment, like mountain climbing halfway up. You're surrounded by trees and rocks, and you can't see the path clearly. But once you reach the summit, look down, and you suddenly see, the path was always there. The overview effect does the same. It takes you to the summit, to see your place and direction clearly. In the end, the overview effect teaches us a simple truth. The world is big, but Earth is small. Life is long, but existence is short. We are all just passing through this blue world on the timeline of the universe. Our entire life is just an instant. So why trap ourselves in tiny personal worries? Why waste our energy in conflict and internal friction? Even if we can't go to space, we can still pause occasionally, step back, and look at our lives from a broader lens. You will realize many things are not that important, and the things that truly matter are the ones we always ignore. Just like those astronauts, only after seeing Earth from space did they truly understand what is worth cherishing. And we don't need to go to space to understand this too, as long as you are willing. Everyone can have a window in their heart that opens to a much larger world.